You're watching TVC Breakfast. For years, migration has been part of man because man is mobile. Man migrates for different reasons, including economic and recreational purposes. The search for greener pastures has seen millions of Nigerians move to other countries like the United States, the United Kingdom, Canada, and many others. Some of these Nigerians have risen to positions of prominence in these countries and are now giving back to societies in Nigeria. Yearly, Diaspora cash inflows into Nigeria runs into billions of naira. These are part of efforts to bridge the economic and intellectual gap between Nigerians abroad and those back home. To consolidate more on this, a group has put together a summit here in Lagos where Nigerians will meet minds to chart a more prosperous path for all. That is what we'll be talking about. So joining me now is Ajibola Abayomi. He's the President, Journalist International Forum for Migration. It's good to have you join me right now.
Thank you for having me.
Great, great. And I also, the media advisor, NGA Project 4040 here is. Now, besides that, I also have joining me on Zoom from Austria, the Executive Director, NGA Project 4040, Adeni Sanusi. Adeni, good morning.
Good morning, sir. Thanks for having me.
Great, it's good to see you.
Good to see you too.
Right. Now, let me start with you in the studio, Ajibola. The point there is the issue of migration has been with us, like we have, put earlier. But however, there are issues of irregular migration that has put a dent on people's movement here and there and all of that. Let's start from there, how the trends are going. And sometimes a lot of people have been stigmatized and been stereotyped because of that. Let's start from there. How challenging is that to our societies first before we go into other areas of the discourse?
Well, let me first of all start by thanking the management of TVC for giving us this opportunity.
Thank you.
I have to say this because I found out that without any prompting, TVC has taken the lead in migration reportage, and much of what you do as adding part as to save lives, because I get feedback each time I come here. There are people who wanted to embark on the regular journey, and because of what we say here, some of them have rethink. Now, quickly to your question. I'm the media advisor of the Nigerian Diaspora 4040 project. What had we set out to achieve? Much of what we are going to be doing at that summit will be about to encourage Nigerians on how they can key into prosperous migration, which is the end result of regular migration, as opposed to what irregular migration offers. Irregular migration offers dangerous, perilous journey at the end of the day. For us, we believe we should be able to accentuate the purpose of migration, development, and diaspora engagement to lift our economy. Migration, like you rightly stated, has been with man for ages. Migration is not a crime. But however, it must be done in the right way. And that is why we, as a group, we have come together under this Nigerian Diaspora Project 4040. Voluntarily, group of Nigerians abroad, supported also by Nigerians in Diaspora organization, to see how we can contribute our quota, to see how we can take the lead in telling government that there are positive things that we can do, particularly if we engage those in diaspora, how we can contribute to the national development.
All right, now Adeni, let me come to you on this. Before we talk about the issue of the project 4040, so we understand what the thing stands for and what it stands to benefit our countries and our people. From Austria, where you are, I wonder what the approach is from government to the people, and even Nigerians like you who are there. When you hear of people migrating irregularly to the country where you are, how is the approach and how is this received or pushed back?
Okay, thank you so much for having me once again. Yes, I can say to you that it's actually very sad that we have a lot of people who want to actually get to Europe by all means. And that's very obvious because of the kind of economic situation that we have in Nigeria. However, it's not worth the try at all because it's almost like a suicide mission. Going through the Mediterranean Sea, going to traveling with a tourist visa and then having an extended stay. So this, extended stay that makes you a migration criminal. I mean, you didn't intend to be a criminal, but because you overstayed your welcome, you become a criminal. So to be honest with you, the host countries are not finding it funny at all because it becomes like a social issue for them. The people who are doing this actually is almost like they are plunging into the taxpayers' money, the money that they have because Europe pretty much is a tax-paying country, so they develop the economy with tax. Unlike Nigeria, where we have oil coming out, and then we have oil reserves and crude oil revenue. But even now, we know very much that we cannot no longer rely on oil revenue. So the host countries are not actually taking this easy, and that is why it has become very difficult for many Nigerians to get visa to travel out of Nigeria, even though they have very genuine reason. Because the question will be, are you sure you will come back to Nigeria if you go on this short stay? So if the bottom line there is, if you know you want to go on a long stay, that you want to stay in the country, why go for a tourist visa? Why go for a visiting visa? Why not just go for a long-term visa? I mean, this is the way to actually migrate properly, so that you don't have surprises when you get to where you are, because then it creates a lot of social problems at the end of the day, and it makes people the host countries to from all ends, both from their embassy in the country of origin and then from their immigration here in Europe. They don't take it funny at all. They take it very, very seriously. It's a very serious criminal offense. Irregular migration is a criminal offense, the way it is seen from a global point of view.
All right, let me stay with you, Adeni. The NGA Project 4040. Give us an insight. What is this all about? Why the 4040? Let us know what this is about.
Amazing. Thank you very much for asking this question. Actually, the Project 4040, many people are thinking that, we have Agenda 2020, and all this cliche that we have in Nigeria. I will say to you that Project 4040, the Diaspora Project 4040, is actually is almost what you can call, in the Nigerian parlance, you can call it a waka pass. So it wasn't something that we actually went out all the way to say, yes, we are doing Project 4040. But however, it came out as a result of my own experience, out of my own diaspora story. Because I remember that before I left Nigeria, I was an acting marketing manager in Tropical Naturals Limited, the makers of Dodo, before I left to study for my master's abroad. So my diaspora journey has been very exciting. Because the reason it has been like this is because each time I see any Nigerian outside of the country, the first thing I'm interested to know is, can you tell me your story? How has it been for you? So from these stories, I've been able to shape my life. I've been able to make the right decisions. I've been able to do the right things. And just in 4 years, I've been able to achieve some reasonably good things that many people would struggle to do in 20, 15 years sometimes. So the journey of 40 years can actually be reduced by listening to stories, by trying to learn from the stories, not actually making mediocre of the story, but actually learning from the story. So in the process of us actually assisting one of the founding members of NIDO Austria, NIDO means Nigerian in Diaspora Europe, and the Austria chapter, so which I am the PRO of NIDO Austria. So I was trying to assist the one of the founding fathers of NIDO Austria, who in the name of Engineer Yemi Ogundele, because he was telling me about a lot of things that he has done when he actually arrived in Europe. And then he started mentioning a number of things that he has done. And at some point I stopped and I said, excuse me, sir, all of these things that you said you have done, have you been able to document them somewhere? And he said, well, he has not actually had time to do them. And I said, okay, is it okay for me to make it a personal project to ask you in documenting your story so that we can call it something like my footprint or something like that. He said, well, if I can do that, you really appreciate it. Then I came back to him to say, you know what, we can actually do this, and then we can launch your book in 100 days. I'm talking, when we're having this discussion, this is about June this year, June 20 something this year. And then I said, we can actually launch your book on Nigeria's Independent Day, which is 1st of October, 2021. He said, well, is that not too close? I said, don't worry about that, so we can actually make it happen. So then he went ahead to provide me with the first draft. And from the first draft, I could see there, he wrote there that he actually arrived in Austria, he stepped his foot in Austria for the first time on 1st of October, 1981.
That's
this
amazing.
Struck me. I'm like, 1981, 1st of October. The same date I'm actually suggesting that we can launch your book. So that means you have been in Europe for 40 years. So that was how the 40 came out. And then in the process of actually making more research, I realized that Iran as a country celebrated their diaspora in 2019, and they called it 40 years, 40 diaspora story.
So it's about the commemoration and of some of these iconic dates and milestones and all of that.
Yeah, pretty much. Yes, it's about the iconic, but however, beyond that, we are actually looking at the lessons learned from here so that we can use it to actually pass message across to create migration awareness campaign so that people will be able to listen to other 40 people, 39 other people's story. So that they can learn from it and then they can plan their migration much more properly, and then we have less irregular migration.
That's amazing. Talking about awareness, Ajibola, as a journalist and working in this space of trying to create awareness, I wonder how aware are Nigerians now when it comes to knowing the difference between migrating on a regular, what is acceptable, and on the irregular part of things, especially when we see where we still hear people say, I will go whatever it is. I will just go. People are still selling their things to travel abroad one way or the other.
Besides the fact that DFOM has done a lot, do you know that in the space of just 2 minutes now, or 3 minutes thereabout, that Adeniyi have been able to share his story, TVC has just been able to put to the public what regular and irregular migration means. Adeniyi went to Europe to study. There and there, he was able to relate with people and hear their story. Today, Adeniyi has been able to do what some people could not do in 15 years story. That is the end of the story. And that is the success story. So for us, when we talk to people about irregular migration, because of what people are going through in Nigeria sometimes, and because of wrong orientations they have, people over there, like Adeniyi said, encourage you, come through a visitor's visa, you stay, or you go through all this dangerous route, be it Mediterranean Sea, be it you want to go through the desert. That is not the right way to go. For us, I can confidently tell you now that with what DFOM and other media houses have been able to do, our people are more enlightened. Like I said, the way to go is to continue to encourage our people that they must embrace prosperous migration, which can only be done through regular migration. If you are so tensed up with what is happening in Nigeria and you think the best way to go is just to ram your way through at all costs, you are going to regret it. So there are a lot of people that have regretted this so far. We have tons of Nigerians that are in Libya, like, many of them have been repatriated in one way or the other. And look at what their lives are. The people they even left behind are better. So the right way to go is to embrace regular migration. And for us to also do that effectively, government has a role to play. In as much as we too have a role to play, we are appealing to government. This economy needs to be reset.
Yeah. How are you partnering with some governments, especially state governments, because when it comes to being closer to the people, state governments are closer to the people. We understand states like Edo State, Delta State have different kind of schemes, trying to help young people who have either gone and returned, or trying to create awareness and all of that. NAPTIP on the national level is doing their own part to prevent and prosecute those who perpetrate some of these things. How are you partnering with them, or how are they reacting or complementing what you're doing?
Yes, positively. We've had partnership with Oyo State government through the office of the special advisor to the governor on diaspora matters. We have also worked with Cross River State government through the Cross River State migration control agencies. And we have also, at one time or the other, had one thing to do with Edo State government. They are doing their bit, but a lot still needs to be done from the side of the government. Because like I told you, the basic driver of irregular migration is poverty. When people are not privileged to have opportunity to be employed, when people are employed and they look at the employment as even a disservice to themselves, at the end of the day, you look at the take home, and here you have people who go to Europe in less than 6 months or thereabout, their life is stable. But what we are saying is that if you must journey out of Nigeria, you must have a roadmap. It must be planned. You must know what you are going for. It is even cheaper to go through regular migration than for you to give your life away to those who will traffic you at the end of the day. For ladies, you know how many of our ladies ended up in prostitution camp. So we are saying to them, we are saying to the youth, we are saying to those who are trafficking our people to stop it. It is criminal. We have also not stopped at that. We've been working with the national agencies for trafficking in trafficking in person. That's NAPTIP. We have also worked side by side with the Nigerian Immigration Service. So for us, it's a service that is in continuum, and we must. And let me also say this, you know, the last time I was there, I told you, we are not just stopping at the border of Nigeria alone. By December this year, we are going to Canada, where we hope to talk to other partners across the world to also see how we can improve media capacity on migration matters.
All right.
One of your staff is one of those 4 learners down there.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
All right. Now, Adeni, let me come to you on this. On the issue of trying to reduce the number of people who are involved in irregular migration, or even putting an end to it for that matter, I wonder what more can be done, and deliberately and with precise intention of trying to stop this trend.
Well, pretty much, in the first place, why are people trying to get out of the country? It's because there's unstable economy, the political environment is not stable, a little bit of maybe insecurity. I'm not in Nigeria now, but people who are in Nigeria can say clearly. I mean, I have families that connect with people in Nigeria on a regular basis, and they say it is not easy there at all. Kidnappings here, killings here, and all of that. And most importantly as well, social programs for the youth. So there needs to be more social programs for the youth. Now, the only reason why I've been able to be stable abroad, even though I left on self-sponsorship, there was no major sponsor for me. I had to struggle it out myself here. It's because there's a social program in Europe, which I leveraged on as well. The Erasmus program is just like our own NYSC. So I leveraged on the Erasmus study exchange, internship exchange. Right now, I'm also leveraging on the Erasmus entrepreneurship exchange. So there needs to be more social program for the youth to engage the youth. There needs to be the deliberate skilling up of the youth population of Nigeria. That is how we can actually tame down this spate of irregular migration. That's how we can reduce it to the barest minimum. Of course, there are people who will still insist that this is how they want to go. There's nothing you can do about them. For those ones, because there are so many who actually do not want to go that way, but the situation of the country has become so unbearable for them. So if there are more social programs, like the programs that the government of the APC started with, if they can continue with such program, money market, going to the market and empowering women in the market, because every woman you empower a family. Every youth you empower a family as well. So these are the things that can be done on a very soft side to actually reduce the spate of illegal migration. And secondly, is also awareness. It was shocking to me that when we came out with our program, and then we're actually talking about how we actually link all the migration trends that have happened from 1981. We realized that in 1984, the government of General Muhammad Buhari, when he was a military head of state, actually created a campaign which is called Andrew Checking Out. Many people do not even know this. So it was shocking to us. And the message or the campaign has actually been remade into a video, like a 1-minute video, made now by Sentobi and Alinko. So this kind of message should be sent across more. People should get to know that the danger of illegal migration and the setting out to go on an attractive illusion in thinking that when you travel abroad, you are made. That's not exactly so. People should get to know the real truth of the matter, that when you get to abroad, a lizard in Nigeria cannot become a crocodile in America. So this is what people should get clearly, and they should know that they should develop themselves back home. They should become better people back home. Self-awareness is very important. Vocational skilling up is very important before you even say you want to travel abroad, so that you can become useful and you can survive the turbulence that you may experience abroad.
All right, as staying with you, I wonder what you make of the capacity to prosecute. One way or the other, we've seen NAPTIP doing what they're doing to prevent people from being involved, from being trafficked. But we still see trafficking, although some persons have been prosecuted. But when it comes to fortifying NAPTIP and all the other state agencies to prevent this from happening, I wonder how much of capacity you see that these agencies have to carry out their function.
Yes, okay, thank you very much for that question. I think that we need to have more advocacy NGOs who are actually echoing the voice of what NAPTIP is doing. So, because you cannot leave it alone to the government agencies. So we need more people to come out and speak more NGA, more Diaspora Project 4040s in different forms needs to come up and talk more about this, because we live in a silent culture. People keep quiet about so many things, and that's not how it should be. So there needs to be more advocacy. There needs to be more policies towards this direction from the private side, and the government also, through NIDCOM, needs to also pay attention to more of proactive measures rather than reactive measures. It is good that people are being rescued from different parts of the world. It is good that people are being brought back because they are stranded. But we can do much more by being proactive about it rather than waiting for them to be stranded. So before they get stranded at all, we can provide awareness to them. We can be deliberate about information and then education in letting them know that if you do this, if you travel through this means, it may become a danger for your life, and then you may not even be able to achieve whatever dream you think you want to achieve in the first place. So okay, more advocacy and more private participation needs to happen, and then the government also needs to pay attention to be able to deliberately be committed to actually reducing this, and then prosecuting people who are doing this as well. Sometimes also to the grassroots, go to the villages, because sometimes people that are even being trafficked are the ones, they are almost like they are lawful captives. They just say, just take me there. I just want to get out of this country. Sometimes it's even the village heads, and then the head of churches, and or the head of institutions who they may not even be aware of the dangers that are in trafficking, but they just want to better the lives of their followers. So in so doing, they don't know that they're actually exposing them to dangers. So a lot of education needs to be made available in this way, so that people are clearly aware of the actions and the consequences of the actions in this regard.
All right. Now, Jibola, when it comes to education, enlightenment, persuasion, and all of that, that space, what forms of education should be enhanced? Because it looks like sometimes when you hear jingles on radio, it becomes, you play it over and over again, and then some people get so used to it and be like, yeah, it's just one of those things and all of that. But what forms of engagement can create a better enlightenment for the people?
Well, first of all, let me place on the record that when we talk about issues of human trafficking, Nigerians in Diaspora Commission, that is not their role. Although we can have intra-agency collaboration, but the buck stops on the table of NAPTIP. They can work with other agencies. But having said that, you've asked me what form of enlightenment do we do. The awareness about, let me say, the danger of like we keep saying it, the danger of irregular migration, we need to hold the ante. We need to sing it loud and clear, because that is the nexus of all, genesis of all, either you call it human trafficking, you call it prostitution abroad, or you call it slavery. That's the genesis. The moment we are able to open the eyes of Nigerians to the fact that a child that is born today must first of all learn how to crawl before you walk. This syndrome of get rich instantly cannot work. People must know that for you to attain the level of success in life, you must work for it. You must pay your dues. Right. So things don't happen overnight. So don't go and make yourself a prey to those who want to exploit you, and at the end of the day, they take what you want and render you useless.
And then you become worse off than where you're coming from. Thank you very much, Ajibola Bayomi, for coming on the program, and we thank you for what you do. All right, Adeni Sanusi, thank you very much as well for the time.
Thank you for having me.
And thank you for what you do as well.